glasses?
In my room somewhere.
Greetings, guys, girls, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another episode of the SavvyCat Podcast. I'm Sav.
And I'm Cat.
And so together we are SavvyCat because we were creative 12-year-olds who were given creative liberty to create our own film company. With business cards that we also created.
Yes.
Create. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been gone a while.
Just a bit. We've been very busy and things have all been happening all at once, really. Things have been opening up. You started university and then things got even more intense with that, and your school was shit.
Don't even get me fucking started on how shit Auckland Uni is.
And yeah, we've been very stressed out, I think, and it's very hard to talk about things for a long period of time without getting too passionate about it. Yeah, so we haven't been able to film one, but we're okay now, and we're about to have a better schedule.
Yeah, we have written a schedule.
Yeah, we actually have a schedule now, and we're getting stuff back on track. So we're back with another podcast, here to say hello and talk about shit. Hello.
With our children. Our 8 sons.
These are our skizoos. We love them more than anything.
You stop. No!
It's 4 each.
You can't steal my children. This is kidnapping.
They're my children too.
This is kidnapping.
We did half and half.
This is kidnapping.
Hand over quokka.
This is kidnapping.
Hand them over. There we go.
I only have 3. What the fuck?
Where's your 4th?
Where's Fuck City?
Hold up, we have a missing child.
Oh no.
Oh, we have a missing child. Where is he?
Where did he go?
He's down here.
How the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway,
So sorry.
So today we're here to complain about school.
Specifically exams. I haven't had to do exams for a very long time. My uni degree did not require exams because I did music. So I haven't really done exams since high school. I've done like the occasional one. I did one when... The only times I've done them have been for my general papers. So I did one for EnviroSci back in 2018. And oh my god, I've been trying to finish uni for so fucking long. And then I did one at the end of last year that was like a learning sexualities paper. And I've got my Korean exam tomorrow. But like, exams are stupid.
They are.
They're so stupid. I've always like I got good grades all the way through school. But specifically on like internal papers, like projects and assignments, I'd always get really good grades on those because, you know, they're more like applying real life skills to them. Yeah. And then I'd never do amazing at exams. My grade average would go from getting like excellences to then bringing it down to an average of like a merit, which is like I get A's on my like internals and then B's on my externals, even though I knew the stuff because I don't retain information like that.
Yeah, no, it is that thing of like when you do projects and stuff, you use more of your brain and more of your skills. And oftentimes you can do it at your own pace, at your own time. And like, again, like you said, it's how you would do it in real life. Like if you have a job in a certain area, they're not going to ask you, okay, within like, 3 hours.
Literally, they lock you in a room.
Yeah, they lock you in a room. For 3 hours, you have to complete this task.
And you're not allowed to use your computer. You're not allowed to use any of your notes.
No, you're not allowed to eat or drink or...
You're not allowed to do any of that. No breaks, no talking.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, you're never, ever going to be put in a situation in real life where, like, that would be a shit job. Like, you would be terrible at your job.
Yeah. Because they know they don't do that because they know that's not
literally
how productivity works.
Exactly. Like, no manager is going to, like, imagine you're an accountant and the manager locks you in the room and they're like, do the accounts, but you're not allowed to look at the accounts.
Yeah. No calculators. Do it all in your head.
It's so stupid. Like, it's never going to happen.
No.
Shit's never going to be like that.
No.
Like, you can write, obviously, like, essays and stories and things are written in real life, but you can use your notes If someone told you to sit down and write something without any notes, they would never tell you to do that because they know that it wouldn't be good and there'd be information missing and information wrong.
Literally. And even like the multi-choice history exams, if you become a historian, you're gonna look shit up. That's just what happens. If you don't know something, you're gonna Google it. So as long as you have the basics, and even the basics, you don't have to retain that because it's...
You should be allowed your entire... There are more exams happening that I think you can bring your book in. Like my exam, this exam, I can have an A4 sheet of paper with notes on it. Yeah. Which I think is good that more of them are doing that.
Most definitely.
But like, you should be able to have a fucking Google.
Yeah.
Like, Google should be available to you.
Yeah. There isn't a scenario in real life where you would have to apply the situation of like, oh no, suddenly I have none of this information accessible. Yeah. Even if, again, I don't know why history came up in my head, but like, even if you're a historian in the middle of nowhere, right? And you have to know the information, you would have books with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have other people to ask if you didn't know.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs are collaborative. A lot of jobs based on information learning through other people. There is no scenario where you would be just stuck in a room with just a piece of paper and be like, tell me the entire story of
and it's like, it's not a good way to gauge how much someone knows or how good they are, because it's really reliant on specific brain types and thinking
brain
patterns.
Types, times of day, moods people are in.
Yeah.
A certain time for every single, like, a group of 60 people all sitting in the same room with different ways of thinking, that's not going to produce good results. It's just not.
And it's like, I am good at applying knowledge and things, but like remembering information, absolutely not.
Yeah. Especially in high stress scenarios, which is what exams are.
Yeah.
And it is shitty, and it is entirely based on a system that we invented like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not a applicant to our current life. There's no point in trying to teach people that way.
They just haven't updated the system in so long. Time has changed. Life has changed. We have moved on and evolved and grown past the point of needing to sit in a room silently, which was never a good idea.
No.
But like, it's also just very ableist.
Oh,
it's
entirely.
It's so shitty. And like, we are meant to have moved on as a society and progressed, and we have not looked at or adapted the education system to that at all.
No, not for even a second. No. Yeah, it's like, I haven't been in school, like in a school, since I was 14, 13. So I haven't really had to sit down and take an exam for years. But I had to do like online exams and stuff like that, and they're so strange. Especially American exams, because I had to take American end-of-year exams for certain subjects, and it would all be multi-choice.
So weird. I've never had a multiple-choice exam ever.
Yeah, it'd all be multi-choice about things that, like, really obscure things that didn't really even talk about... Because usually when you learn a subject, what you retain is like the general idea of the subject, like the concept of it, so you can work out bits and pieces from that general concept. But it'd be like one specific sentence that you read like 2 months ago, and then none of the actual idea of it. So it'd be like, this play that you read, instead of like, what was the, what was the idea, what was the theme of the play? It'd be like, what did this one character say in scene 3? And you'd be like, I don't know. That doesn't fucking matter, though.
That's just a memory test.
Yeah, it's just a memory test. And for some reason, that grades on how much you know.
That's so weird.
The subject, and it'd be so fucking weird, because it's like, of course I am going to fail this, even though I know it really well. Because you're judging me based on something that only you know. It's like, you can't even remember this. You have a sheet to mark it on.
Yeah.
Can you mark this test based on your memory? You probably can't. Because it's irrelevant information.
Yeah. I guess that's where, like, we talked about this at school. Our teacher, one of, like, our bio teacher would talk about it, like, American school system and how fucking weird it is. Because, I mean, although exams at home are shitty. They are, I guess, better in... They're harder in the way that, like, multiple choice, you have, like, a chance of getting it right just by guessing. But, like, there's no prompts or anything. You have, like, the achieved questions, merit questions, and excellence questions. So the achieved questions are usually, like, a 3-word answer. They're, like, like, if it was bio, it would be sort of, like, what are the, like, draw a Punnett square. What are the chances, if these are the parents, and these are their genes, what are the chances of their child having blue eyes? Like, that's, like, an achieved question. And then, like, a merit question is they'll ask you something, and you have to write 3 sentences to answer the question. And then the excellence questions you get 2 of, you have to write a page to answer the question. And I really liked subjects like bio, because when you just have to write stuff, you can kind of just bluff it.
Yeah.
I spent most of my exams being like, it's that thing of like, I knew the general idea. I couldn't really remember the specifics, but I knew the general idea. I knew some of the vocab. So I would just write the same thing in 4 different ways and hope that it made sense.
Yeah.
And that's how I would get through my exams, and that's how I passed well, because I just am good with words.
Yeah, and that is the thing, is like, that is how it works in real life.
Yeah, that's much more applicable in real life, but you just should be able to have notes.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the way people should be graded on things, on how well they understand the subject, is if they can teach it back to the teacher.
Yeah. That's that's what our exams were meant to be, I think. It was like, you have to write it as though the person reading it doesn't know what they're reading. That's how we learned to do it.
Instead of answering like, oh, what does this thing mean? Or like memories or anything like that. It's like, if you can have, like for Korean, if you can have a conversation with me with all the things that include in a conversation, with prompts from the other person and, you know, discussions about what this means. Getting through a conversation of like, oh, what did you do today? I did this. How do I say this? How do I get from here? Then that should be graded like that.
No, this is easier than that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm taking this one. No. I don't like your idea. Your idea is way too difficult. No. I'm not on your side with this one. Absolutely not. I already had to do my conversation test. That was fucking hard enough.
But in terms of real life situations, that's how
in terms of real life situations, entirely, but no. No. Maybe Korean, like, not beginners. Language tests, like, later. Right now,
valid.
If you told me to sit down and have a conversation without, like...
You're at the very beginning stages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're doing grammar, which is valid. That's just as important as having a conversation. But, like, I just meant that in the way of... I just meant that in the way of, like...
You are right.
With, like, you know, science and maths, if you can sit down and go, this is how it works, then fuck yeah. Yeah. That is, like, I always talk about, I forget that you've done American exams. Because the exams at home are much more real life situations. But yeah, the main problem is just sort of the situation, the circumstances in which you're given them without, like, notes and stuff. Yeah. American exams just make no fucking sense, and they're the stupidest thing in the entire world. Our teachers would complain about how stupid American exams were all the time. They were like, they don't teach you any real life skills at all. They don't prepare you for the real world. They don't prepare you for university. Yeah, no. They're absolutely fucking pointless. Yeah. Which is why our exams aren't like that. So our exams are much more applicable to real life, but they don't give you the resources you would have in a real life situation. No. So it's like, we want you to do this real life situation by explaining how something works by following prompts. But we aren't going to give you any of the resources that you would have available to you in real life. You aren't allowed food. You aren't allowed to talk to anyone about it. You're not allowed to ask questions. That's so stupid. Yeah, that's so stupid. And that's so counterproductive. And it just makes people afraid of the topic. It's like, oh, if I don't remember this now, I'll never remember it. It's like, that's not how things work.
Yeah. Like, we had to write essays for English exams, and we had to include quotes, right? You had to use at least 5 quotes. You weren't allowed to write them down.
No.
You had to remember the quote word for word, and you had to remember 5 of them for 2 different essays. Yeah, no. You had to go into an exam, and no, it's not even just that, because you don't know what question you're going to be asked. Yeah. You get 5 questions about 5 different topics, so you either have to write an essay about the theme, a character, a technique used, whatever. You have to, like, there's 5 different questions. You have no idea what the questions are going to be. So you have to prepare quotes for like each possibility of a question that you might get. So like I wanted to do like a character question, but then I got there and the character question was not a character question I knew how to write. So I had to go for a different one, which meant the quotes that I wanted were not applicable anymore. And you lose marks if you don't quote like word for word. How the fuck am I meant to remember like 20 quotes going into an exam?
No, you can't.
They're like, you have to remember the whole entire 3 poems.
Yeah.
I can't remember 3 whole fucking poems and other quotes and all the techniques and everything I need to fucking write about. At least let me write down the quotes. So the tip they gave you is like, say the quotes over and over before you get into the exam. And when you get your paper for taking... So you get a page to write notes and brainstorm before you start your essays. And they're like, the advice is the first thing you do when you get in there, write down all your quotes so you don't forget them.
Why don't you just bring it in?
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Why?
You're not allowed to do that. You have to remember the quotes word for word. Otherwise you lose points.
So ridiculous.
So get into the exam and immediately write down your quotes so you don't forget them during your writing.
That's so ridiculous.
So stupid.
No, that wouldn't be applicable. Literally ever.
Literally ever.
Ever.
When are you ever gonna be... Why can't I write down my... Can't I bring my quotes in on a piece of paper? What?
That's so stupid.
It's literally so stupid.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That was... Because English exams, again, decently easy to, like, sort of bluff your way through. Because it was just, like, you had 3 hours to write 2, like, page-and-a-half essays. Which was, like, easy enough. Just, like, say shit. My essay that I wrote in 15 minutes, I got the best grade I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
I just make shit up.
Yeah.
And that sort of goes to show again that exams are fucking bullshit. It's just so fucking weird, man. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, I have beef with artistic exams.
Artistic exams.
I have beef with them in any kind of scenario because I don't think you can grade people on art.
Well, that was my entire uni degree.
I know. I don't think you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I still don't know how our fucking songs were marked.
Yeah.
I usually... Because, like, I got, like, mostly B's for my songs, and then some of my friends got, like, A's and shit. But, like, how?
Yeah.
I still don't entirely understand how they were graded. And it's, like, I sort of understand it's sort of, like, how they were produced. Lyrically, whatever. But, like, that's... Like, grading someone's, like, lyrics is very personal.
It is. Grading someone's, like, it's that thing of, like, if you have the basic techniques of, like, oh, I know how to, like, with, like, instruments. If you can play the basic chords, blah, blah, blah. But the way people put them together, that should not be up for review. It's, like...
Yeah, they're like, that didn't work. And I'm like, yeah, but I liked how it sounded.
Yeah.
They're like, that doesn't work with the set rules of music that we use.
But the whole point of it is to break the set rules.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of art. It's like, you're supposed to put your own life into it, and you didn't live my life, so how the fuck can you judge me on that?
Yeah. The worst part about ours was, they were usually quite good at that. They tried not to be, like, subjective. They tried to I don't really know how they graded it. But the worst part is that, like, finals was worth 30% of our grade, and it's a final performance. You have to do 3 songs, and you have to do it with a band. You have to do it with at least 3 other people. Yeah. And they're all doing their finals. And so then you have to, like, rely on other people for your final grade worth 30%. And you have to work around their schedules. A lot of people played in, like, the jazz students are fucking insane, and they were playing 10 people's finals.
Yeah.
So you have to work around their schedule and make it work for yours. I worked almost full time. And so it's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Why is 30% of my grade reliant on other people?
Yeah. No, it's... yeah.
And I do understand that is sort of how it works in real life, but in a real life situation, you're not going to be all doing your own exams.
Yeah.
You're usually committed to the one thing that you're doing.
Yeah, if the exam was like a group project, then that'd be a real life, but not like, I am focused on myself.
Yeah.
That's not how...
And also, like, people don't... It requires a lot of selflessness.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, they want to put their effort into their own things. They're not going to put their all into yours.
Of course not. Yeah, it is this... It feels like we're still trying to apply really old rules to a world that does not fit them anymore. And we're the ones that have to pay the price. It's like... That's what I never get with, like... You know... staff and teachers and professors and stuff like that are like, this is how it's done. This is how it's always done. It's not how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of especially universities nowadays is to like bring up the next generation to a lot of what their selling points is like, we're changing the world, we're rediscovering blah blah blah, and then you go in and you're like, I have new ideas, and they're like, failed. It's like, what? What? How? It's like, oh, we can't do that because that's not how it's done. You literally
just said you were trying to change.
This whole concept of university is trying to come up with new ideas, especially for like, I don't know, master students and like PhDs. The whole point of that is to try and rediscover stuff. The fact that you are marked on the possibility that that's not how it's done. What?
Yeah.
What? Why? We're supposed to be questioning these things. Give me a good reason why it can't be questioned. It's like, you need to ask questions the whole way through your academic career. You need to, always ask why to get the answer. Why is this? No.
Yeah. You should just know.
You should just know. How the fuck am I supposed to know? Can you teach me how to learn instead of teach me... They never teach you how to learn. Schools never teach you how to learn. It's so frustrating.
They cater very specifically to specific learning types as well, because everyone learns differently.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, it's this interesting thing. I always realize, and I know we've talked about this multiple times, and I'm complaining about school, but I was very fortunate in my learning environment to like hearing comparison of how my school compared to other people's schools is very interesting to me, because I know most schools are like, you have to be silent in class. You're not allowed on your phones. It has to be silent. No like talking. The teacher like writes stuff up and you take notes, and that's how you're meant to learn. That doesn't work for fucking anyone. How the fuck are you meant to work like that?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And I never realized how fortunate I was to have, like, our whole school was like, it was all about communication and class discussion. Class discussion was like how we learned at school, like particularly with like subjects that I loved was entirely like bio.
That's how you learn things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it should be.
I didn't take any fucking notes that entire year because all we did was like talk about it, discuss it, watch Hank Green, like, and because that's how we learn. And the teachers made it fun. They turned into like, we played games and we would do cahoots.
Yeah.
And like it's just all discussion and like, what do you think about this? How do you apply this? Making fun of anti-vaxxers and calling them dumbasses. Our teachers, our bio teacher was fantastic. He also, one time I remember him coming into class being like, is anyone here Christian? No? And then he just started talking about God being an imaginary friend.
Good. At least he asked.
Yeah, there were Christians in our class, they just didn't say.
That's on them.
Yeah. I think he called him Sky Daddy.
Good.
And like, I don't know, like we focused on cool stuff, I guess. And then the classes that weren't like that were classes that I just hated and didn't learn in.
Yeah. I was, because my learning was not discussion at all.
Yeah.
Mine was entirely just sitting and writing notes. But the way I did it was, I never actually learnt, because mine was all online. It was all done online, usually in my room alone. And the way I learnt was, I would read through the really shitty examples they would give me. Like, they'd give me a topic and then it'd be like 2 pages of just a white screen with text on it. Or like diagrams. And I wouldn't comprehend any of that. So what I would do is I just take the subject matter and then just paste it into YouTube and watch people talk about it. So I'd steal lessons from universities. I'd steal, the little videos that people give, and I just do that way. And then sometimes I just read through YouTube comments, and that's how, because you don't learn from just reading a piece of paper. That's not how it goes into your brain. So I just literally, Googled it.
Yeah.
The whole time was just me finding, in history classes, I would just find out what the subject of the day is, briefly skim through what the lesson plan was, and then just find a documentary on it. It'd usually be the exact same information, but in a much more engaging way. And it's so ridiculous that they don't understand that you just... It always baffled me because people are always like, you need to go to school. At some point you don't.
Yeah.
You just need to learn how to do that.
You need to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
You need I think it's more that, like, you need the motivation to want to learn things.
Exactly. And it's a lot harder to do that when you're just given a piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, I love learning. And I love learning new things, but only on my terms, because I'm my own person, and I think a lot of people feel that way. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Which is, like, it's very interesting. Like, having, I don't know, the set curriculums and stuff, I feel like it should be a bit more fluid, but I also do understand that, like, in terms of that, it can be difficult with limited amount of teachers and not being paid enough.
That is a whole different issue. I don't blame teachers for education.
One thing that I found really interesting, speaking about the difference between, like, New Zealand and American education, I had an American teacher for science in year 11. General science, worst teacher I've ever had. Like, she didn't teach. It was so fucking interesting, because, like I said, my learning is usually, all through high school, was discussion. It's sort of like asking questions and then talking about it. We'd ask questions back, we'd ask why, we'd get explanations, and we would, like, discuss one topic for the whole class, between ourselves, with our teacher, whatever. That's what our learning was. But then, this American teacher, we got a textbook, or, like, an exercise book, and she was a lovely, lovely person. She was a lovely person. But our entire class was just the textbook, and she wrote the answers on the board, and we copied the answers. That was our class. That's not how anyone learns. We didn't have to do any work. She just wrote the answers on the board. She's like, so this is the question, this is the answer. Class is done. That's... Hello?
Yeah, that's not how it works at all. Yeah, in international schools, a lot of the time it is... The American teachers do follow that structure.
It's just so weird.
Textbook writing, and then there was a lot of times where, like, comparing, like, the New Zealand and Australian teachers, they'd be like, you didn't play any games today?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's like, we do, like, puzzles to figure out, like, riddles, and, like, it's just fucking weird, man. Yeah. That was, I didn't learn anything that year of science. I chose to continue doing biology because I quite enjoyed it, but, like, chemistry and physics, did not understand them at all, did not learn anything that year, did not comprehend anything, so I immediately was like, no, I'm not fucking taking these anymore. I don't understand it. And I don't remember any of it.
Which is a shame, because that is what takes people's joy out of it. It's like, you could have really enjoyed chemistry and stuff like that. Like, they are very interesting subjects. I think every subject can be very interesting. You just need to...
I didn't like bio, and then I did it in year 12, and our teacher was fantastic, and it was my favourite subject.
You just need to learn how...
Yeah.
You just need to learn how to learn it. It's just, it needs to be something that you connect to situational-wise. You can't enjoy something if you're in a situation. That's just not how it works. So if someone's just telling you how to do it, you're obviously not going to enjoy it.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to be engaged and, like, actively trying and wanting to learn. Because if you don't want to learn, your brain isn't open to learning.
No, of course not.
And you don't want to retain information. I got very bored when I did that. Like, in French, sometimes it was a lot of discussion based. Obviously, it was a language, but I don't know, it was a bit more strict.
Yeah.
Whenever we had to just do silent work, I just went on Facebook, because this was the time everyone used Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't have any notes, like, any subject. We spent the whole time on Facebook, looking at memes.
Fair. Valid.
It's that thing of, like, if you don't finish your work, you just finish it at home. So I just wouldn't finish my work, and I would just not do it at home.
Yeah. That's another thing that I never understand. Schools run off of very strict times, right? You have to do exams at specific times. You have to be at school at specific times. I've never worked during the day. Not once in my life have I actually tried, like, been most productive during the daytime. I've only exclusively worked at night.
You've been working during the day recently.
Only in the mornings. I get very, very slow once it gets in
Oh, same. Day. I can, work first thing in the morning and at night time.
Yeah.
During the day...
Yeah. During the day, my brain... It takes me a really long time to finish things. Like today, it took me much longer than it should have.
Yeah.
Because I get to a certain point in the day where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's just tiring. I know I have to sit here and I don't want to be here.
Yeah. Especially when it's like fucking hot, like today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working during the daytime. It's too hot.
It is too hot. But yeah, I've always worked better at nighttime. I exclusively did my schoolwork at like 2 a.m.
Valid. Yeah, I work better in the morning. So like, I would like put off my assignments and then be like, oh, it's nighttime, it's due tomorrow, I should do it tonight. And then be like, no, I don't want to do it tonight, I'm too tired, it's nighttime. So then I go to bed at 9, set my alarm for 4 a.m, wake up at 4 and do all my exams and all my assignments at 4 a.m. the day they were due.
Yeah. Some people work at different times, and it's frustrating that they took every single child on the planet and just went, you work during factory times and factory times only.
Well, I guess it's because that's the time that the work day goes as well. So the reason school's at that time is so that
the work people
your parents
who
can go to work, right?
Yeah, that is it, and it's also to get us used to one day going into the workforce. But again, that's reliant on the world we have now. The whole point of raising the next generation is to change the world. It doesn't have to be like that.
But they want it to be.
Big,
greedy, rich people want it to stay the same because they are benefiting off of it right now.
Exactly. That's why we should eat all the rich.
I agree. Yeah, it is this interesting thing. And talking about changing things like this gets a lot of people really upset because they're like, well, this is how it's always been. It wouldn't work any other way. I'm like, how the fuck would you know it doesn't work? It doesn't work the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't work any other way. It doesn't work right now.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're trying to fucking say. Well, it works perfectly well now. No, it fucking doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
How many fucking kids are, like, killing themselves?
Yeah. It definitely does not work. It does not work, and it needs to change, and it needs to actually change, and not just be like, yes, let's change this.
Yeah.
Anyway. It always frustrates me when people are like, this is the way the world is. It doesn't have... It literally... Nowhere does it say it has to be.
No.
And if it does... A human being wrote that, and human beings
can unwrite it.
Yeah.
We always talk about rewriting history, right? Just fucking change shit, man.
Yeah. If we all woke up tomorrow and decided not to work during 9 to 5, we could do that. Yeah. We literally could.
Yeah. Well, there's some places try to do 3-day weekends now, right?
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Which is very cool. Yeah. Hopefully more places start doing it. We need to follow, like... Scandinavia is slightly better in terms of their education system.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. I think it does come down to... Just people need to realise that people are different, and that's okay. People think differently, people work differently, people are different. They come from different scenarios and adapt to different things differently. And trying to fit them all into the same box and then grade them on them in front of their peers is not healthy and not something we should do. That's all we're trying to say.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
What's that thing? It's like, it's equity, not equality. Or just completely remove the fucking fence.
Yeah. Anyway. I know it's been short, but I'm like actually dying of heat right now.
Yeah, it's very, very hot. And also, we've been talking passionately for a while. Long time.
Yeah. So we are exhausted now. We hope that you've enjoyed our rant. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month, yeah. Happy Pride Month. Happy being gay. It's a good time.
Happy exam season.
Good luck. We talked shit, but I do hope you do well, and I do hope that afterwards you can give yourself a big hug and a pat on the back and know that you did really fucking well and you worked really hard.
Why are you saying this to me?
I wonder why.
And I can't believe my exam is at 6:30 in the morning.
No, I'm really sorry about that one.
I didn't even get to talk about how shit my uni is.
Yeah.
I could talk about that for days. Anyway.
Yeah, you worked really hard and...
Thank you.
You did.
Thank you.
And what's important is that you got something out of it. Fuck the school.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck all the numbers that come with it. The fact that you learned something is impressive on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's most important.
Exactly.
Is that you learned it and you can keep learning. And that you find something you find enjoyment in.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So keep on learning, but the things that you want to learn.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, at this point, we have to...
And eat the rich.
Eat them.
Eat them. Liebert says study hard. Or work hard. Or be yourself.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All right. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.